Welcome to Understand the Math. Today I'm going to teach you how to factor algebraic expressions that contain rational exponents. I'll show you steps that you can easily follow and walk through the two example problems listed here. Be sure to check out the link below for free guided notes that you can use as you watch this video. There's space in the notes for you to highlight the steps that we'll go over and fill out the answers to the examples that we're going to do. You'll then have a set of notes to refer back to when you need to review this concept again or study for a quiz or an exam. I've listed 4 steps that we're going to follow to factor these expressions by pulling out the greatest common factor. I'll explain these steps as we walk through our first example. In our first example, we're going to factor 5x to the 1/3 plus 10x to the 4/3 minus 20x to the minus 2/3. The x to the minus 2/3 term is the term that makes this problem complicated. The first step is to identify the greatest common factor of the coefficients. Our coefficients are 5, 10, and minus 20. The greatest common factor of these coefficients will be the highest number that goes into each of these numbers. Let's see what that is. We'll write down the greatest common factor, GCF, of 5, 10, and minus 20 is going to equal 5, because 5 is the biggest number that goes into 5, 10, and minus 20. The second step is to identify the greatest common factor of the variables. In this problem, the variables are x to the 1/3, x to the 4/3, and x to the minus 2/3. The greatest common factor of these terms is going to be the one with the smallest exponent, and that's going to be x to the minus 2/3. Let's give ourselves a little bit more space. The next step is to factor out these greatest common factors. We're going to factor out a 5 and then our x to the minus 2/3. Let's go ahead and do that. We have 5x to the 1/3 plus 10x to the 4/3. Always good to write out the problem first, minus 20x to the minus 2/3. This is going to equal, we're going to pull out a 5 and x to the minus 2/3, and then we'll see what we have left. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now here's where the hard part comes. We're going to take x to the 1/3 and divide it by x to the minus 2/3. So we have x to the 1/3 divided by x to the minus 2/3. We'll bring it up on top and multiply. So this is x to the 1/3 times x to the 2/3, which is equal to x to the 1 or x. So back up in our parentheses, this becomes 1 times x. And then for our next term, we're going to divide 10 by 5 and we'll get 2. And then we have to divide x to the 4/3 by x to the minus 2/3. So this becomes x to the 4/3 times x to the 2/3, which is x to the 6/3 or x squared. So back in our parentheses, we have 2 times x squared, and then minus 20 divided by 5 is minus 4. Our answer then looks like this. We have a 5x to the minus 2/3, and then writing our polynomial from the highest power of x to the lowest, we have 2x squared plus x minus 4. It's usually best to rewrite this and put the negative exponent in the denominator. So this is going to look like 5 times the quantity 2x squared plus x minus 4, all divided by x to the 2/3. And that's our final answer. Hang with me. I know these problems are complicated. Whenever I teach calculus, this is one algebra concept that I always have to review. Let's do another example that contains 2 algebraic terms. When we do this example, we're going to not write out the greatest common factors because I want you to see what it looks like without having to write that down. we have 4x cubed times 2x cubed plus 1 to the 1/2 plus 3x to the 6th times 2x cubed plus 1 to the minus 1/2. We're going to pull out the greatest common factor of our constants. The greatest common factor of 4 and 3 is actually 1 because no other number goes into that, so we actually can't pull out a constant. Let's jump to our next algebraic term. That's going to be x. The greatest common factor of x cubed and x to the 6th is going to be x cubed because that's the smallest. And then the greatest common factor of 2x cubed plus 1 to the 1/2 and to the minus 1/2 is going to be 2x cubed plus 1 to the minus 1/2 because that's the smallest power. Now let's see what we have left. In our first term, we have a 4, and then we have 2x cubed plus 1 to the 1/2 divided by 2x cubed plus 1 to the minus 1/2. You bring the 1/2 up to the top, you add 1/2 and 1/2, and you get 2x cubed plus 1. So we have 4 times 2x cubed plus 1. And then we have 3. We have x to the 6th divided by x cubed, which is x cubed. So we have a 3x cubed. And then that's it. Let's now simplify our answer. We can right at the beginning pull that 2x cubed plus 1 to the minus 1/2 down to the denominator. So up in the numerator, we have an x cubed, and then we have an 8x cubed and a 3x cubed. So that gives us 11x cubed plus our 4, and that's all divided by 2x cubed plus 1 to the 1/2. And that's equal to x cubed times 11x cubed plus 4 divided by the square root of 2x cubed plus 1. It's always nice to write a 1/2 power as a square root. Let's highlight our final answer. I know these problems are complicated, but you can do this. I hope that you now feel comfortable enough to go ahead and work some of these problems on your own.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.